Are men expendable? I'm opening with that question because I've come across two reports today which I believe would get more attention had they involved women and children. And I'm not trying to offend anyone with this video, I'm not trying to be provocative for the sake of it, but I think it's a legitimate question. There is a tendency for the collective media, and I say that because most agencies do it, to somehow treat men as expendable, or at least cover situation stories involving male victims in a much less obvious way than stories including female victims. Now, I'm by no means saying that when there's a big tragedy or a terrorist attack or whatever, that women and children, when they are victims, that should be ignored. Of course I'm not saying that. But I'm saying there should be some consistency and we should treat life as life. The two cases I'm going to cite, first of all, there was a big plane crash in Algeria today. 103 people killed. It was a military plane crash. I think it's safe to say the majority of victims are going to be men. One or two networks have covered it. France 24, CCTV have covered it. I believe one video I found online said including women, so I don't know if it was women on the ground or women soldiers, but that just goes to show, oh well, you know, scores of men have died, but by the way, a few women are included. So that's and the other story I came across was a BBC report, and the BBC hasn't even covered the Algerian crash yet. You know, this happened hours ago, I understand, and it hasn't even covered it yet on the Facebook page, which is shameful, really, for the world's biggest broadcaster. What they do include, though, is UN aid agencies have expressed concern about the safety of scores of men and boys detained by the Syrian authorities after being evacuated from homes. More than 300 male evacuees have been held for screening after leaving the old city. Now, to me, that has sinister reminders of Srebrenica in Bosnia. And yeah, it could be argued it's other men doing it, but the point I'm making here is that the media, major agencies, don't cover male victims of disasters or war in the same way as women and children. Now, as a man, I do have a natural protective instinct towards women and children. What I mean by that is I'm quite traditional minded. But so of course I find it sad when women and children are victims of tragedy. But we have to stop this mentality of men are expendable, and just because a man is a victim, his life is somehow worth less coverage. And I think it's another example of sexist double standards, and that's another example why I criticised that campaign about coverage of women in the media, the feminist campaign to claim that women got a hard time in the media. This is an example of men being treated with bias. So there's just some things to think about. I'm not saying they don't cover it at all, but clearly, had that plane crash involved a lot of women and children, I think it would have got a lot more attention. I really do. So, just some thoughts to put out there.